Research. This is very important. Now, I'll probably in this course say very important a lot, but this would actually be one of the most important parts of your pre-production, because without good research, you can't find a good story. And this is a question that gets emailed to me a lot, which is, Mark, how do I find documentary ideas? How do I find ideas? Well, there is so many different ways to find them, but we have a couple techniques or just a couple real simple tips to find stories, and some of them may seem really, really obvious. The number one way we have found stories, documentary ideas, is the news. Listening to the news, reading the news, Google searching news. News is a great place to start, and this is because news articles can't necessarily get into the depth of characters or motivations or what people want, like we've been talking about, the wants and the desires of your character. They can't, because they're trying to just give you the latest update of what's happening in the world. So listening to the news is great, and writing these ideas down, and then you can contact the journalist or you can reach out to the people directly if you can find them on Facebook or Instagram. The news is a great place to start. We decided to do our film No Country is an Island because of the news. We saw that there was a terrorist attack in Sri Lanka on these churches. And we thought, well, this is a story. There must be a story there. So that was our topic, was the terrorist attacks. We've been talking topic versus story. And so we needed to find the story. So we actually then went on to Instagram and just started researching Sri Lanka bombings, terrorist attack on Easter, just started searching those, and we found the group Heal Lanka, and this is where the story began. We reached out to them, and it went from there. My film Rescate found out about that story because of a personal case where one of my best friends actually passed away in a plane crash in Dominican, and when I went down there, I met these paramedics who were at the crash site. Now, that was a personal experience where I had to go there, but you can imagine the news where it says plane crash happens in Dominican. You could have researched that and found out. Another way to find stories, to research stories, is just reaching out to journalists, reaching out to news reporters. I find this really effective actually, because a lot of these reporters have to just create a new story every day, and they don't have the opportunity to write them further. So I reach out to them and just let them know what I'm doing. Hey, I'm a documentary filmmaker. I'm looking for documentary ideas. I saw you wrote an article about this. Can I ask you some more questions? And some of them may not want to give you the time of day. I've had a lot of people not respond. I've had some, maybe about a third of them will respond. But the ones who do, you can offer them either a producing or story credit because they've given you the idea, or you can ask them to come on board and help write if you like them or if you have a good rapport with them. Reporters are an incredible resource for stories, reporters and journalists. One thing I love to do too is I find beautiful images on the website Reuters. They do a photo every day, or the best photos from that day. And it's a series of 25 really incredible, evocative imagery from around the world. And what I love about those photos is they have people in them, and those people represent stories. Remember, we've talked about the difference between a topic and a story. These people all represent stories. And so I'll reach out to the little name at the bottom. I'll find the email for that photojournalist, and I'll reach out to them from there. And there's one story idea I've actually discovered from a photo, and we've been developing it. I can't talk so much about it right now, but it's down in Honduras. And the story, if we can actually get the funding for it, will be insane. And that's all because I looked at one photo online and I reached out to that journalist. Now, one of the best people I know for research is our editor, Lewis Gordon. He's amazing at research. He can come up with so many amazing ideas. I've actually had the chance to pitch to some big news agencies the story ideas. He sometimes helps research, and they love his ideas. He's an incredible researcher. So we're just going to run over to the edit suite right now. We're going to ask him some quick questions. Hey, buddy. Oh, it's grabbing its focus. There we go. Lou, what are your biggest tips for research? You are the research king.
That's what I like to call myself.
Yeah. You, besides being an incredible editor, what are some ideas for research?
I think the big thing that's helped me over the years is I love subscribing to news organizations whose articles I love reading, and you can subscribe to certain lists, whether it's different sections of their organizations, different sections of their newspaper, their digital newspaper.
So name a few of them that you read.
I love the Guardian comes up with great Sunday reads every week. and they send you a bunch of different features that did the best throughout the week, and always take a look at those. The Sunday New York Times does that as well, the Sunday Globe. And so I get all of these really great stories that performed well, that got really great response throughout the week. And throughout the rest of the week, I just read them here and there whenever I can. And one thing that I love to do is I've created actually a bookmarks folder in my web browser. And anytime I read a news article or a feature that I find really interesting, I just give it a little favorite on the bookmark bar and add it into the folder. And then months down the line, when somebody asks me to do some research or I'm pitching ideas, I just check out that folder and find all of these great articles I read 6 months ago, 8 months ago that have gone over my head and I've forgotten about. And I'm suddenly launched back into these worlds. And I'm not only given those creative juices from the article, but I come up with these fresh ideas and fresh questions when I go back and look at the headlines or look at the photos or look at the words that are written in the story.
Why this is actually, those tips from Lewis are really important is when you talk to producers or you talk to production companies that want new ideas, you need to have minimum 5 documentary ideas ready to pitch to them right there. You won't get opportunities if you have one idea that you come up with every year that you try to get through. When you pitch, I can't mention the news companies we've been working with because we signed contracts, but I have to come up with 20 different ideas to pitch to them. And then 1 or 2 of those ideas will get to the next stage. And then the hope is that that idea gets through to the later stage. So like Lewis said, bookmark, get lots of ideas because you never know which one could catch the attention of someone who could fund your film. Another point for research too is give yourself some time and space to get inspired. I'll sometimes take, maybe once a month, and I should do this more, where I just sit down and I write down some ideas that may have escaped my brain. You just got to give yourself time to get creative. Think of ideas that may interest you. And what's really cool too is you can set up Google alerts for ideas that you may find interesting. So we were trying to find stories about the immigrants coming up through the caravan in Honduras. So we put Google alerts for that. So any news article that came out about that or any tweet was sent to my inbox, and I could begin researching that and seeing if there was ideas or people I didn't know about. You need time and space, which kind of time and space comes to my 4th point, which is you need to take trips. If you have the opportunity, not everyone can do this, but getting into a new country, getting into a new town, just getting outside of your 4 walls will be the best way for you to find ideas. Going and experiencing another culture and asking lots of questions. A lot of the documentary ideas that come to us have been because we've made trips, and you get to find the characters, meet them face to face, and hear about their stories, hear about their families, hear about what they want. You need to meet people. That's why you should not be afraid to pick up the phone call and reach out to someone that you found in a news article or on a Facebook ad or whatever it is, whatever the person you're trying to research, get on a phone call with them. Do some what we call exploratory research, where you actually talk to the person and write down some questions and find out who they are. For a documentary we're researching called Clear Sky, we've gone and met our subject firsthand. We've met him face to face and filmed a bit with him, and we've discovered right away, we're like, man, this is a documentary we would love to pursue.
My health is at stake right now. I saw the doctor over a year ago and I got blood work. There's something going on with like liver.
Clear Sky, the character in the film, is an incredible person. He's an incredible human being, and he's up against a lot of challenges in his life right now, which, there you go, there's a story. We can tell his story.
I think that's kind of scaring me too right now. If I lose one, you know, what's gonna happen?
So get out there and get meeting people. So to recap those, guys, news articles are the #1 way to find stories. And then from there, well, you kind of find a topic or you find a person and you can find out about their story. #2, I find, is photojournalism. There's often a story behind these photos. If they're in an area where there's a lot of conflict or in an area of tension, it could be a political issue or anything like that. #3 is just giving yourself time and space. Just thinking of documentary ideas is actually a great place to start. And then from there, you do the research and you set up Google News alerts for the topics that you're looking for. And then #4, and this is not 4th as in this is the fourth in priority. I think this is actually a really important one. If you can do this, is traveling, getting outside of your home, going and meeting people face to face. Because if you're going to film a documentary about them, chances are you're going to need to be with them. You're going to need to be in their environment. And why not meet them ahead of time? And one last thing, if you think you have a good documentary idea or you're just in the beginning of it, try pitching your film in the comments below in 1 to 2 sentences. Try and express the basic idea of your film in a super hyper-focused, concise way. 1 to 2 sentences. We call this kind of the log line for the film, or the synopsis. This is like the really short version of the synopsis. But if you can do this, and people can understand your film idea, then that's the first step to pitching. And you're going to have to do this at some point, whether you're telling it to a broadcast or a funder, or you're on a crowdfunding page like Kickstarter. You're going to have to pitch it in 1 to 2 sentences before people want to hear anything more. So I know this might be scary, but below in the comment section, if you think you have a good idea, or even if you don't think you have a good idea, maybe if you're trying to figure out if it's a good idea, leave a comment, 1 to 2 sentences max, and don't make these run-on sentences, but try to explain the theme and who your characters are and the conflict in your film. And other people can comment below, tell people and give some feedback if you understand the idea or if it resonates with you. This is good practice. It might be scary, but at some point you're gonna have to do this, and you should get used to doing this. Practice makes perfect. So leave a comment below with your documentary idea, and the community here, other people watching this, give some feedback. But I hope this helped for research, guys. Leave any questions below if you have any, but thanks for watching this one.